Welcome, everyone. I'm Mariquita Solis, the live stream host of all-creatures.org. All-creatures.org was founded in 1998 and is a leading resource for faith-based animal rights veganism. Led by our executive director, Tams Nicholson, we provide free resources for people seeking to live compassionately towards all creatures. Our extensive library includes vegan sermons and commentaries, animal rights strategies, action alerts, events, and works by various vegan authors. We also sponsor websites for animal rights organizations. Our mission is to unite compassionate individuals worldwide who honor the dignity of all creatures. Today, we're very honored to welcome Terri Chrisman. Terri is a distinguished speaker, engaging podcaster, accomplished author, and a board-certified nutritionist with the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. With a profound passion for empowering individuals to reclaim their health, Terri combines cutting-edge scientific research with actionable real-world strategies. Her mission is to demystify health and provide clear pathways to prevent and reverse chronic disease, inspiring lasting lifestyle transformations. As the visionary founder of the Fabulous Health Show podcast and fabuloushealth.net, Terri dedicates herself to making optimum well-being accessible and achievable for everyone. Her expertise and compassion guidance shine through in her work, helping countless individuals navigate their health journeys with clarity and confidence. Welcome, Terri. It's wonderful that you're here with us.
Thank you so much, Mariquita. What a beautiful introduction. I really appreciate being here. Thank you for having me.
Well, I love your energy. You're very bright and happy, and I think we can all use a dose of that. So thank you for sharing that with us. And I want to get to know you better. I know that you have a lot of fans out there from your podcast and your book. So let's dive in. I'd love to hear about your vegan journey. Where did this start, Terri?
My vegan journey started way back in 1986 when I decided that I didn't want to hurt cows anymore, so I would give up meat. And I didn't want to give up chocolate because that was too hard. And I was 18 years old, so I had no nutrition knowledge whatsoever. And I thought, what can I give up that, is going to help my health and help the cows? So I thought, I'll just give up meat. And it was a no-brainer for me, Mariquita. As a child, I didn't like eating meat, but it was just like that's what we ate. We ate meat and 3 veggies every night for dinner, and that was it. And I just decided that I didn't want to do it anymore. And for 25 years, I thought I had angel wings growing on the back of me, a little halo, because I was being nice to the cows and the pigs and the sheep and the ducks and all the things. And then I had a girlfriend who was vegan, and she used to send me very disturbing videos, and I couldn't watch them. Videos of animal torture and factory farming and things like this. And as soon as I opened it up and I saw what maybe it would look like, I was just like, nah, I'm not doing that. So I rang her up and I said to her, honey, I can't watch those things. Please stop sending them to me. I'm doing the best I can. I'm not hurting the cows. I haven't eaten meat for 25 years. And she said, yeah, but you're still eating meat and dairy. You're still eating, dairy and eggs. And I said, yeah, but dairy doesn't hurt the cows and eggs don't hurt the chickens. And she gave me a lesson. And she taught me about the atrocities of dairy and the dreadful conditions of chickens. And she also sent me a scientific research paper about how it affects your health as well. And then I was sold. So I went vegan overnight. So it was a pretty long journey to fall off the cliff, you know what I mean? So then that day I was just like, well, once you know this information, you can't unknow it. And if you have any compassion in your heart at all, you can't continue to do the activities and the behaviors that are contributing to the pain and suffering of other animals. So I just went, no, that's it. So November 1st, 2015. So it's been almost 10 years now. And then, of course, it extended itself to my life, not just my food. So when we bought a car, I made sure that the car didn't have leather seats. Whenever I buy shoes, I make sure that they're not made out of any animal products, handbags, clothing, furniture. Oh, Marikita furniture. How difficult is it to get furniture, nice furniture that doesn't have duck feathers in it? It's very difficult. I've got to tell you a quick story, actually. I was shopping for pillows in London one day with my girlfriend, and I said, we want the pillow to have no duck down in it, because she was saying, oh, these ones are the best, blah, 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 and they all had duck down in them. And I said, no, I don't want duck down because, you know, it hurts the ducks. And she said, and I quote you, no, it doesn't hurt the ducks because the down is a byproduct of the duck meat industry. And I looked at her and I said, just think about that for a minute. The ducks are still dead. Byproduct or no byproduct, the ducks are still dead. Where are the polyester pillows? Like that.
That's crazy. Yeah. Cognitive dissonance, yes.
It is, isn't it? And, you know, it's funny because I often think about nice people. Like, I think about nice people and I'm like, she's such a nice lady. Why isn't she vegan? You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand how you can be a nice person and still not understand the connection between what you eat and pain and suffering. I just don't understand. And I also, it's all about like your vet, you know, the person who treats your dog or your cat, who also treats cows and sheep and horses and ducks and whatnot. And their whole idea of treatment is do no harm, yet they'll eat one. And that I don't comprehend that either. I don't understand why every vet on the planet is not vegan. There's something goes on in my brain and I'm like, how do they not see what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very good question. It's hard to grasp the reality of the situation. I mean, they're there to treat animals, yet what's happening at home and during lunch?
It's strange. But the other thing is that could really upset a person like myself and cause me great pain and suffering and affect my mental well-being. So I've got to tell you, and it's, you know, you probably won't like this, but I have to let that go. I have to let other people's actions go and only focus on what I can do. And what I can do is A, not eat the animals, B, help other people not to eat the animals. And then I feel like I'm doing my very best that I can do. I'm not the sort of person to chase a truck. You know, that's just not in my nature. And I know some people do that, and I have friends who do that, and I honor them, and I think it's fantastic that they can be on the front line. That's not me. I do it from a different position, and I do it from a position where, hey, this is going to help you. I have to look at the benefit to the person. People will only make a change if it benefits them. So if I say to somebody, hey, don't eat the cow because it hurts the cow, they're like, you know, what's in it for me? Well, what's in it for you is you're not going to get heart disease. And what's in it for you is you're going to feel so much healthier. And eventually your soul might be feeling better because you realize that you've done something to help another being. But in the short term, it has to be all about selfishness. What's in it for this person? I can help you lose weight. I can help you not get heart disease or diabetes or whatever it is. And then they're taking the actions, not hurting the animals. And then later on, they might realize, hey, I'm actually doing something good for the animals and the planet and my fellow humans and the universe. Wow. And they might become enlightened then afterwards. But that's not where I start, because I think for me, that's too hard. Go down the easiest path possible. And that's the same with my book. I wanted people to go down the easiest path possible so that they could make incremental, tiny, weeny changes and look back in 12 months and say, wow, how did I do that? Well, you did it by one step at a time.
Yeah, that's very important, not taking on too much. So definitely. And I want to say hello to Ellen, who's joining us from Sugar Grove, Illinois.
Hi, Ellen.
Get your questions if anybody has questions. Also, but yes, I also believe in letting things go. I mean, we're here to live on our values and morals, and that's all we can do. If it, let other people, I mean, everyone has to live with themselves. So, I mean, we do the best we can. We're responsible for ourselves, and we know what's in our limitations. You know, I mean, we're what the best fit is for us in our advocacy. So, yeah, that's wonderful that you're spreading that message, Terri.
Yeah. And remember, I was being poked with a vegan stick by my friend for years, and I was reticent. I was like, stop it. I don't, I'm doing what I'm doing, and stop it. And it took me to understand when I was ready, and then it happened. And look, I'm sure you talk to a lot of vegan people, and the thing they say is, why didn't I do it sooner? We all say, why didn't I do it sooner? Because it's such a beautiful thing that you feel in a line with your moral compass, and you're doing good for all creatures, and you're doing good for the planet, but nobody can push you to get there. And I think that's something that we all have to be aware of when we're talking to people who are at the other end of the spectrum, who are nowhere near where we are, and that we can't poke them. We have to just let them come at their own pace and encourage them and give them things that will make them question what they're doing. But trying to push somebody over the cliff, it will always backfire.
Yes, you're right. And what about your friends and family when you switched your way of living and eating? What did they say? Did they think you were crazy?
No, well, because I'd been vegetarian for a long time, it wasn't a big step just to stop eating dairy and eggs. At the time, 2015, I was living in Hong Kong with my daughter, who was just finishing high school, and my husband. And I did what I'm saying I wouldn't do, because I just said to them, okay, we're all vegan now. So what I just said is not what I did. And it was no big deal for my family, because we were already vegetarian anyway. And I said, in the house, no more animal products. If you guys want to go out to dinner and you want to order eggs and dairy, that's up to you. And I think at that point in time, my husband may have or even been eating a little tiny weeny bit of meat when he went out to restaurants and things, but not very much. My daughter not, because she was born vegetarian. I brought her up as vegetarian. So it wasn't, for my family at least, I just basically put the flag in the sand and said, this is what we're doing now. And they had no problem, because when you have been vegetarian your whole life, like my daughter, and I just say, okay, we're just going to have almond milk now, or oat milk on your cereal, or soy milk, or whatever. Yeah, the taste is a little bit different, but it's really no big deal. And the things that we used with eggs, we just made other things. We used chickpea flour, or we didn't make the quiche. Maybe I didn't make a quiche for like 6 months, because I was like, hang on a minute, how am I going to make a quiche? And then it took me a while to learn, you can use chickpea flour and make the eggy substitute and use the black salt or whatever. But it wasn't a big change for my family. And certainly also for the people around me, because I was always promoting eat more veggies, eat more fruits, eat more greens. And so really I was kind of lucky that, because I didn't go from omnivore to vegan overnight, I went from vegetarian to vegan overnight.
Right. Yes, I see the path. Everyone's path is different. So, yes. So, Terri, what would you say to someone that was very depressed? I mean, it's just like a vegan that was feeling sad about the state of the planet and the animals, and couldn't really get up. How would you comfort that person?
Oh my goodness, that's a really difficult question. I think the thing, when you love animals and you see suffering and it affects you, you're very, very empathetic. And if that affects your mental health, then the only thing I would suggest is to go and seek professional assistance. I'm not qualified to help people get out of depression. That's not where my scientific basis lies. I'm not a depressed person. I'm a very positive person. And to be honest, I cannot connect with that brain space. I've never really been in that area, and I know that it's debilitating for people. So I would try and encourage them to see somebody professionally to help them deal with the sadness that they are attributing to other people's actions. That's such a difficult thing to be able to cope with. Yeah, but I certainly would not be a fixer in that situation. I can't fix that.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, that's very honest, and thank you for your honesty. So,
The
yeah.
other thing is, though, Marikita, I would ask them, what are you eating? Because if you're eating highly processed vegan foods, they can contribute to depression. It's not just that you're thinking about the suffering of the animals. There's chemicals in the highly processed foods that are no good for us. And so if you start to eat more healthy, whole plant foods, they are mood enhancers. So that's a start. I would get them to eat the whole plant foods and seek some professional assistance at the same time. But get out of the habit of eating the highly processed vegan foods too.
Yes, I know. When I took the eCornell the series, plant-based nutrition, it was a game changer for me. And I mean, it's been kind of it's not a linear process, but really now I'm very grounded and very aware of processed foods, and I can see when I start to bring in some processed foods, and then that starts coming back, that craving for that again. So then I have to, but then I can stop it, So yeah, I mean, and I think about when I go to my friends' houses and there's not much fruit, or not many fruits or vegetables. And it's kind of sad. It's very sad, not kind of sad. And I wonder, it's just upsetting. But yes, I'm thankful that I took that eCornell program to really know what's going on with these processed foods and how much our body needs the living foods. And that's what we talk about. So that's your expertise, Terri. So everybody, whoever's watching, please let us know if you have any questions for Terri, because might as well ask her. She's here to help us. So
yeah, and I'll answer the questions too afterwards too. So if you're watching the replay and you have a question, just stick it in the chat and I'll answer it for you.
Sounds good. Thank you. All right. So tell us about your book. This is exciting.
Here's the book. It's called Fabulous Health, A Simple Plan to Get Well and Stay Well. And it's basically a handbook, a how-to guide to go from a place of unhealthy lifestyle to healthy lifestyle. And I compare it to running a marathon. If you want to run a marathon and you've never run before, you don't sign up for the marathon and tomorrow go run it, because number one, you'll break down. Number two, you won't be able to do it and it'll be a failure and you'll think that you're no good, right? So nobody wants that. What you do is you purchase a marathon training plan and you get a coach and you find a friend who wants to join you. So you get the community aspect of there, and you join the marathon Facebook group and you talk to other people who've done the marathon training before. And then you start on day one and you put your shoes on and you run a mile. That's all, or maybe half a mile, whatever it is on the training program. And then the next day, and you tick it off. And the next day you look at your program and it says, okay, today you can have a rest. Okay. And then the next day it says you're going to run 1.5 miles. And then it goes and it goes and it goes and it goes and it goes until you get to the end and you're at the start of the marathon. And you're like, how did I get here? Oh my goodness. And then you run that marathon and you're like, oh my gosh, this is impossible. 6 months ago, I would have told you there is no way in any imagination that I would be able to run a marathon. Well, there's your training program. You start from where you are. It doesn't matter if you don't believe that you can do it. You just follow the steps one day at a time. You learn habits. You continue those habits. And before you know it, you're going to be whole food, plant-based. Your blood pressure is going to be down. Your cholesterol is going to be down. You're going to have lost weight. You're going to have gorgeous sleep. You're going to feel fantastic. you're going to bounce out of bed, you're going to fit into smaller pants, you're going to have better sex, all the things that you wish for today that you think are out of reach, they're all going to come true. And that's why I wrote the book, because I lost my dad when he was 51. He didn't know that he had heart disease. Just bang, heart attack, dead, just like that. And it broke my heart. At the time, I was 25. I was working in a radio station as a radio announcer. No nutrition knowledge whatsoever. That was, give up the cows because I didn't want to give up the chocolate, that kind of thing. So I couldn't save him. I wasn't in a position to say to him in the 10 years beforehand, because I was a kid, hey, Dad, lay off the donuts. Hey, Dad, lay off the fried food and the ham sandwiches. I was not in the position to save him. And so this was 30 years ago. And I would say, Mariquita, for 25 of those years, I blamed myself and I blamed him. It was like, why wasn't I there for him? Why didn't I save him? And why did he not save himself? Why didn't he do the things? Well, the fact of the matter is he didn't know the things. Nobody knew the things back then. In the early 90s, the doctors thought that heart disease was either bad luck, a natural part of aging, or genetics, which, of course, we now know is not true. There is some genetic component, but mostly it's lifestyle. So I tortured myself for years thinking that I could have done something to save my dad, and it broke my heart, and it still breaks my heart. And so I wanted to find a way that I could save your dad or somebody else's dad or your life or somebody else's life or your sister or your brother or your kids. I wanted to find a way that I could save people, and a lot of people cannot afford a private nutritionist. Look, private nutritionists are expensive because we have to make a living, right? But people can afford $25 to buy a book. And for $25 or whatever, even look, you can get it on Kindle Unlimited for free, right? For a very, very small amount of money, you can learn everything in my head that I've learned over the past, 10, 15 years, and that I've learned from my clients, and that I've learned from the scientific literature, and that I know absolutely 100% works. And then hopefully I can save your life, because that's what it's all about, right? I want people to not die of heart disease, not have complications from diabetes and have their feet cut off. I want people not to have rheumatoid arthritis and such sore joints that they can't open cans or walk down the stairs or undo zippers and things like that. I mean, lifestyle diseases are debilitating, and they affect the quality of somebody's life. It's no good living to be 90 if you're in pain from the time you're 50 onwards. Who wants to live 40 years in pain? My wish for everybody is that they live to 110 and that they're healthy, and, obviously bodies wear out, but then, one day they go to sleep and they don't wake up, because the 109 and a half years prior, they were healthy and happy and living their life with vigor and also with a solid moral compass, so that they felt in their heart that they were doing the right thing.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. We all have to live like that. And it's hard. I mean, we fall off track and then we have to get back on track. And I mean, the human experience is complicated. It's not linear. So, I mean, it's nice that you are so understanding and caring, Terri, that 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 you're there for your clients, for people that, and then you have the book, that there's nothing holding them back for all people, whether they're rich or poor or, wherever they are on their journey. So
that's right. And there's libraries too, right? So if you can't afford to buy the book, by all means, go to your library. I'm just going to show everybody again. Fabulous Health, A Simple Plan to Get Well and Stay Well by Terri Chrisman. I know it's backwards, but you can deal with that. Go to your library and ask them to get it. And then they will get it for you, and they'll put it in the library and you can borrow it. So there are ways to find this information that's not going to cost any money whatsoever. And then, of course, the other thing is that if people read the book and they take action and then they're stuck or they keep falling off the wagon or whatever, hey, I'm here. I have a website. You can contact me. We can have a chat. It's not a big deal.
Right. And what about people that say it's too late for me? What would you say to that person?
Oh my goodness. Just scour the internet and find stories about people who changed their life when they were 80, 85, 90 and continued to get healthier and healthier well into, their later years. It's never, ever too late. And whatever is going on in your body, you can arrest it. I'm not saying that a whole food plant-based diet is going to reverse every single disease under the sun. It may reverse some diseases. For example, it can reverse diabetes. There's scientific research to prove that. It can reverse heart disease. It can diminish the effects of rheumatoid arthritis, because rheumatoid arthritis is a disease that damages the joint capsule. So you can't reverse that, but you can stop it from progressing. So if you've damaged your joint capsules and you can't move your fingers, you can make it so that the damage stops and you can still move your fingers. Your symptoms are less. So things like that, absolutely, it's not the panacea to all ills, but it certainly puts you in a position where you are on the best footing. So if you have reduced all the chemical toxins in your body, you've reduced all the hormones from different species, and you've reduced the medications and all sorts of things that go into animal products and the chemicals from ultra-processed foods, then you're at square one, right? And now, okay, you go to the doctor and the doctor says, well, your blood pressure's down, but you still need a little bit of cholesterol medication, but only half the dose that you used to have. Or your diabetes is reduced so much that you only need less metformin, or you need less insulin, or whatever it is. I'm not saying that this will cure all ills. I'm saying it's the best place to start. And it doesn't matter where you are, because the way I look at it, life can take two paths. You can go down the path of increasing vibrancy and health as you get older. Just stay there, like you and I. We're just there, right? Look at me. I'm 58 years old. I feel like I'm 25. I'm living the dream. Or you can go down the path where you gradually get sicker and fatter and more depressed until you die, right? Well, dude, what path do you want to go on? And only you can choose the path. And I'm begging you to choose this path. You know what I'm saying? Like, choose the fun path. I'm skiing every season. Last year, I fell off the mountain. I had to have surgery on my knee. I didn't ski for half a season or whatever. It was like 9 months. And now I'm skiing again. So, you know what? It doesn't matter. You can have injuries. That happens. That's life. But just because I hurt my knee doesn't mean I'm like, oh, that's it. I'm never going to ski anymore. I want to ski until I'm over 80. And the reason is because A, it's fun. B, it keeps me healthy. And C, you can ski for free when you're over 80. They give you the pass. They give you the season pass, and it costs $0.
That's wonderful. That's a good incentive, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, Terri, what about people that say we can't eat fruit because that's a lot of sugar? What would you say to those people? I mean, or people that say, I can't, I mean, I had someone say, and no, I can't eat that banana.
Oh, okay. So the internet is an amazing thing. It's also very, very bad, because there is a lot of misinformation on the internet, and people will believe something that somebody says with no basis in science. And then it becomes their normal. If you say it enough, people will believe it's true. And there are a lot of loud voices on the internet saying things like carbohydrates are bad for you, and that you need to go keto, and that we should all live like cavemen, blah, 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 blah. Well, I hate to break it to you, but cavemen ate mainly plant-based foods, because guess what? They're a lot easier to find some berries and dig up a tuber that's growing than it is to catch yourself some kind of animal that's running around the, the plains or whatever. So most people think that eating meat is a natural human thing. It's just not. The human body was made to eat plants. That's why the digestive system works 1 million times better when it's got fiber in it. Fiber is used to help the gut bacteria, to help you eliminate toxins, help you lose weight. It's fantastic, right? And you only get fiber from plant-based foods. Now, the sugars in fruit are fructose, not the sugar in table sugar, which is a mixture of fructose and glucose. So fructose is metabolized by the liver, and that's a natural thing. So there's no reason, like, for example, the sugar in a banana is not going to raise your blood sugar level if you're a diabetic. Sure, you've got to watch it because there's there's nuances in everything, right? So anything that I say, you can't just say, oh, Terri said 100%, blah, 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 right? The sugar in fruit is beneficial to you because, number one, it's fructose. Number two, it's packaged with the fiber. So this attenuates any blood sugar spike that you might have, right? So if you ate a candy bar that was full of glucose or table sugar, your blood sugar is going to go really, really high very, very quickly. And if you're a diabetic, or if you have diabetes, that's not what you want. The other thing is that your pancreas is going to start pumping out some insulin if your pancreas is working. Let's assume your pancreas is working. It's going to pump out the insulin. It's going to try and grab that sugar and suck it down out of the blood. That's its job. And then you're going to have a crash. So then you're going to go into a sugar coma. You'll be asleep or tired or lethargic or not want to do anything. And then you're going to have, it's just this self-perpetuating cycle. So the sugar in fruit is beneficial not only because it's got the fructose, and when I talk fructose, fruit fructose is different to high fructose corn syrup. That's a different conversation. But if you see anything, any packaged food with high fructose corn syrup in it, please do not eat it. Yeah, that plays havoc on your liver. You do not want it. So your fruit, it's got natural fructose, it's got fiber, it's got water, it's also got vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, antioxidants, all these beautiful plant compounds that assist the body in healing, assist the body in being anti-inflammatory, anti-cancerous, anti all the bad things, right? So eat the fruit. And plus it's low calorie. So because of the water content and the fiber content, fruit is really low calorie. So you can eat tons, it'll fill you up, and it's not going to do any harm to your body.
What about potatoes? People are so scared of those.
Potatoes are awesome. Okay, when in doubt, eat a potato. Potatoes are so fantastic because, again, lots of fiber. They are very satiating. And what that means is they fill you up with very few calories. They have a lot of moisture in them too. So anything that's got moisture in it is going to fill you up with less calories. So your fruit, your vegetables, and potatoes are the most satiating food that you can buy, meaning you will get full on less calories than anything else, than a potato. So potatoes are great as long as you don't smother them in butter and cheese and bacon bits and croutons and deep fry them and do all the things, right? So I always have in my fridge, I have an Instant Pot. And if you don't have an Instant Pot, it doesn't matter. You can put them on the stove. I buy a bag of potatoes. I cook them all at once. And then I put them up.
Or how do you?
No, just whole. And then I put them in the fridge. And then, you know, when it's in between lunch and dinner and you're like, I'm a little bit hungry. What can I have? I just pull a potato out and I put it in the microwave for 30 seconds and I eat the potato. Bang! My cravings are gone. Absolutely gone. And I challenge people, if they are trying to transition, maybe they're on a diet, which we don't do dieting. We might talk about that later. And they get hungry mid-meal, eat a potato just by itself. Look, if you want to put on some like low calorie kind of dressing on it, or maybe some balsamic vinegar, or I don't know if you've heard of Well Your World. Well Your World is a company that makes really healthy sauces and things like that. They've got a Asian everything sauce and an Indian everything sauce, or whatever. You can put some of that yummy stuff on, or some of their ketchup, which has got no sugar in it. Just eat the potato, and I promise that will last you till dinner. You could air fry the potato too. Nothing wrong with that. You can have chips. So, but that takes 20 minutes, right? So when I'm hungry, I don't want to cut up that potato and stick it in the air fryer for 20 minutes. No, I want that food in my tummy. I want to quell the voice, because that's what happens with people when they're trying to lose weight. And let's talk about weight for a minute rather than trying to be healthier or whatever. They are always thinking about food. Whenever somebody's on a diet, all they do is think about food, because they're on a diet, right? Oh, I can't have this, I can't have that, I have to have salad for lunch, I have to have veggies for breakfast, and so all they do is think about food. And unfortunately, when you think about food, it sends a message to your stomach that you're hungry. And so it's like this self-perpetuating loop of starvation, right? Which really, you're not hungry. So what you want to do is you want to quiet that brain. And the way to do that is with potatoes. And if one potato doesn't do it, hey, have two. No one's counting calories here. Just have 2 potatoes. And if that doesn't do it, have 3 potatoes. Before you know it, you're going to be full, and you won't be thinking about dinner for 4 more hours.
That's funny, but yes. And let's talk a little bit about what's wrong with diet, the word diet. I'm going on a diet, or that attitude.
So the scientific word diet basically refers to an eating pattern. So you and I are on a whole food plant-based diet.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean we're restricting our calories. It doesn't mean we are doing something for a very short period of time to try and have an outcome. And what happens is people relate that word diet to a short-term restrictive change in their normal eating pattern to achieve a goal. And what happens is, if you do that, you may very well achieve your goal. And hey, good for you. But as soon as you go back to your normal eating pattern, you're going to start putting the weight back on. So I like to think of a diet as a lifestyle. This is the way I eat, end of story. And that's what the whole food plant-based diet is. It is a lifestyle. You're going to change the way you eat, not for 2 weeks, not for 2 months, but forever. And that scares people. So that's why I make it one step at a time. If today, instead of having a meat burger, you have a plant-based burger, that's one step. You're still having a burger. Instead of having fries dipped in oil, cooked in oil, you have air fries. That's one step. You're still having a burger and fries, but the health benefit is immeasurable, because you're not eating all the saturated fat, you're not eating all the hormones, the medications, you're not eating all the oil, the inflammatory compounds, you're not eating all the chemicals, but you're still having a burger and fries. So that's the easy way to do it. If you're going to make dinner and you want to make, just say it's, let me think of something. You want to make a lasagna for dinner, and you usually use minced beef in your lasagna. Well, you can use soy crumbles, you can use lentils, you can use a little bit mixture of each. Whatever it is, I've got a fantastic lasagna recipe in the book for people to use, and a way to make bechamel cheese out of tofu. And you can still have, nobody said you can't have lasagna. You're just going to make it in a different way. And yeah, it's going to taste a little bit different. And the reason it's going to taste a little bit different is because it's not going to have all that saturated fat in it. And a saturated fat or most fat actually has a mouth feel. It sticks to the roof of your mouth, and it kind of has this warm, lovely feeling, and people like fat. People think that, Oh, I've got a sweet tooth. No, you've got a fat tooth, right? You like chocolate because of the fat, not because of the sugar. And so, yeah, things are going to taste a little bit different, but give yourself grace. Say, okay, I'm going to try and make this lasagna today. And, I didn't really like it. I did the recipe exactly as Terri said it, and, yeah, I didn't like it. Okay, what can I do next time? Okay, maybe next time, maybe I'm not quite ready for lentils. Maybe I'll try the meaty crumbles, the plant-based meaty crumbles in the supermarket. And although they're a little bit processed, they actually taste, apparently, like meat. So let's try that next time. So then you try the lasagna with the meaty crumbles and you go, that actually tastes like lasagna. So then the third time you make the lasagna, maybe we do half lentils and half meaty crumbles. Or maybe that's where you stop. You go, okay, you know what? I'm going to just keep eating those meaty crumbles because that's where I want to be. And will my health be as great as it would be if I went to the whole plant foods, i.e. the lentils? Probably not. But if I do all the other things, if I'm eating whole plant foods for the rest of the day, then a little bit of meaty crumbles is not going to kill anybody, right? As long as they're plant-based, they're a little bit processed and they may not help you reach your goals as quick as having whole plant foods. But people need to do it at their own time and they need to give themselves grace. It doesn't matter if it doesn't work the first time. So the way I put this is, if you have a baby, do you have children, Marietta? No. Well, if you have a baby and the baby's ready to eat solid food, and the first thing you give them, maybe not the first thing because you always give them the iron cereal, but let's say they're 6 months old and they're trying new foods. So you give them the mushed up carrots and they spit it out. Do you say, my baby doesn't like carrots, I'll never give them another carrot as long as they live? No, you don't. In fact, when I went to university to get my master's in nutrition, we had a whole class on how to get babies to eat vegetables.
Wow.
And the fact of the matter is, you just keep giving them to them. Spit them out. Doesn't matter. Next day, here's carrots again. Spit them out. Doesn't matter. Until after 7 or 8 times, that baby's going to go, carrots. And then they'll start eating the carrots. So you are just a big baby. If you don't like something the first time, try it in a different way because you're an adult, right? You don't need to eat something that you dislike, but try it in a different way. I know some people say, I can't stand Brussels sprouts. Well, how have you cooked your Brussels sprouts? I've boiled them. So they're kind of soggy and slimy and disgusting and we hate them, right? Well, what about if you put them in the air fryer and then make up a sauce with some balsamic vinegar and some a sugar-free hoisin sauce and maybe a little tiny bit of soy and sesame, and then, shake them around a bit and then in the air fryer again. Oh my goodness, what a flavor explosion. So don't discount a food because the first time you tried it, it sucked. Now, having said that, I have never eaten an okra that I like, but it doesn't mean I'm never going to have okra. And the reason I think I have never seen an okra that I liked is because everybody serves it fried. Do the fried thing. Or they served it in a jambalaya or something and it was slimy and I didn't really dig it. But it doesn't mean I'm never going to have okra again. And certainly it's probably not something that I will go out to the supermarket and buy and try and cook myself. But if I went to a plant-based restaurant and the chef said, it was on the menu, I'd say, well, how's he doing it? What's he doing or she doing to make this okra taste delicious? Then I'll try it and then I'll try and reverse engineer it. And I've done that with a few foods that I don't particularly like. I'll go to a restaurant and try them because, hey, the chef probably knows what they're doing, right? Why would I waste all my time experimenting? I'll just go let somebody else do it. And then I'm never scared to say to the wait staff, what's in this? This is awesome. And you know what? They always tell you, that's a mixture of this and this and this and this. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I'll go home and I'll try and recreate it.
That's wonderful. Yeah, that's very, that's a good plan for all of us to try these things I'm not a big fan of eggplant. So I need to try that. There's certain things, yeah, and okra too. That's not a big winner for me. So, yeah. So also everyone, if you're watching, please hit subscribe and like. Um, so what do you eat in the morning for people that don't want to cook and deal with it, and they're so into the routines of eating like just cereal that's just junk with no nutrition, or just whipping up an egg? What would you say to that person that doesn't want to put a lot of time into it?
Well, I eat one of two things for breakfast. The first thing I eat is vegetables, and I know this will freak people out, but I buy a huge big bag of pre-chopped frozen stir-fry vegetables from Costco. And I know if you don't have a Costco, you can just get stir-fry vegetables or whatever veggies you like from any kind of supermarket. I throw them in the microwave on a bed of greens. So maybe power greens or baby spinach, or I grow my own kale and Swiss chard or whatever. Chuck them on a plate and then cover them in some kind of sauce. So at the moment, I'm doing the Well Your World Everything Indian sauce. I might do a California balsamic vinegar. I like the teriyaki one. It's really cool. I have a cheese sauce in my book that I make, and I could put cheese sauce over the top. So veggies, and sometimes I'll put edamame in there for extra protein, or maybe some little tofu squares. So that's my number one. And I know that is so far out of a lot of people's wheelhouse. Veggies for breakfast. Are you freaking kidding me? But you can get there. That's like advanced. Otherwise, I'll do oatmeal and whole grain oats, not your quick oats, not your oats filled with sugar, your Quaker oats filled with sugar and bananas and all that garbage. So whole grain oats with a ton of berries. Buy your berries in the huge, big frozen bags because they're a lot cheaper. And I'll use the equivalent of a cup of berries, which is like a container of whole berries. And if you buy a container of organic raspberries, that's like $7, right? So you don't want to be spending $7 on your brekkie every morning. So that's why I buy the whole huge frozen mixed berries. And then, 1 cup is like 50 cents or whatever. It's a lot cheaper. And soy milk. And then a little bit of flax, or I prefer flax meal over chia. Chia has a funny texture I'm not in love with. And so if I use chia, it's always blended in something else, like a smoothie or something, because I don't like the texture of it. But certainly flax for the omega-3s, and maybe, a little bit of walnuts as well for the omega-3s. And that will fill me for the rest of the half day before it's lunchtime. So if I do the oatmeal in the morning instead of the veggies, I'm going to do the veggies for lunch, and then I'm going to pimp it up with extra protein, so extra tempeh or tofu or edamame, something like that, to make it a little bit substantial, and some chopped up potatoes or something so that it makes me full.
Well, that sounds wonderful. And let us know if you have any questions, because we do have a little bit more time. But so what about seasoning your food? Now, you don't want to dump a lot of salt or all those heavily processed sauces on your food, on your vegetables. What do you season with? What kind of spices, or what do you recommend? I mean, you did say Well Your World. So
I am a huge fan of Well Your World.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely adore them. So for people who don't know, Well Your World is a husband and wife team, Dylan and Reeves. They have a cooking show on YouTube. You can join as a member. It does cost a little bit of money, $15 a month or something, and you can watch them make food that is all healthy, whole plant food without added oil, sugar and salt. And they have their own food brand. So they make seasoning mixes. They make a Italian one, a Mexican one, a Creole one, or jambalaya one, lots of different mixes, because if you're just starting to cook and maybe you don't know what spices go well with each other, it's so much better to buy a container of spice that has 7 different ingredients in it to give you the flavor that you want. So, for example, if I'm making lasagna, I'll use their Italian seasoning. And I'll be generous. So you might think, oh, just put a pinch. No, don't put a pinch in. Put a tablespoon in, right? Because you're not using the salt You're not using the oil. You want to bring out the flavor. So you use a lot of seasoning. So the Italian mix obviously goes with my lasagna. I make a fantastic Asian noodle bowl, and I use their Asian stock powder. So it's got celery in it, and it's dehydrated whole food, whole vegetables, dehydrated and then made into a powder. And all you need to do is mix it with water, and it turns into a bouillon or a stock. And because it's got the celery in it, it tastes salty, even though it's not salty. So you're not getting the sodium in your body, but you're getting that salty taste, which people love, right? So I say season crazy, go crazy. Lots of cinnamon in your oatmeal, lots of herbs and spices in all the things that you want to eat. I love chili. I'll chuck lots of sriracha in my chili, and lots of Southwest. I call it Southwest seasoning, but it's just like a mixture of different chilies and cumin and some other stuff. Just season it up until you're happy. It's all about your taste buds. And yes, today you might be addicted to sugar and salt. And if you made a whole food, plant-based meal with no sugar and no salt, you're going to go, that's disgusting. I can't taste anything. It's a journey. So maybe you're going to add a little bit of miso. Miso's got quite a bit of salty flavor in it. Or maybe you're going to add a little bit of aminos, which also salty. That's your soy saucy type stuff. And maybe you might add a little bit of date powder instead of, sugar in your oatmeal. So you just got to change one thing at a time until you're happy. But don't go dumping the salt and the sugar in it, particularly in the cooking stage. If you absolutely cannot eat the food because it's bland and you can't deal with it, you can sprinkle a tiny weeny bit of salt on top, not in the cooking, because what happens is if you put it in the cooking, it gets diluted through the cooking liquid and your taste buds won't pick it up. Whereas if you finish cooking and you put the salt on top, as soon as you put that fork or spoon to your mouth, your taste buds are going to get a grain of salt, and then bang, your brain goes, oh, salty, yummy.
Oh, that's a good tip. Thank you for that. And
then it's a case of just weaning yourself off the bad and weaning yourself onto the good.
okay, what's your thought on steel cut oats? And if I'm trying to lose weight, is a sweet potato better than oats? I'm hearing that oats are fattening on the web. I love this because I eat sweet potatoes all the time and I eat steel cut oats. So thank you for this question, Ellen.
Ellen, I think steel cut oats are awesome. And sweet potato pound for pound has less calories than oats. So if you want to lessen your calories, you could have sweet potato instead. But I really think you're splitting hairs, to be honest. I think as long as you're eating whole plant foods, the oats are fine. It also depends on your overall calorie intake for the day. So if you're eating oats, which are quite, they're not high in, they're a substantial calorie food, right? So a cup of oats is, I think, like 400 calories or something, or half a cup of oats is 400 calories. I haven't got the figures right on me. But if you're going to eat a bowl of oats and you're going to put some berries on it and some soy milk, you're probably looking at about 500, maybe 600 calories for that, particularly if you put some walnuts or something on. And if you're going to eat the equivalent in weight of sweet potato, it's probably going to be a few less calories. But then at lunchtime, if you're still eating another 600 or 700 calories at lunchtime and then another 600 or 700 calories at dinner, that's fine because it's like 2,000 calories. But you want to make sure that if you're eating your complex carbohydrates early in the morning, then at lunchtime, you're counteracting that with a low-calorie vegetables, greens, things like that are just making sure that you're having the right amount of calories for the day. Yeah?
That's very good because I just had my brother made us a little pizza, and I'm looking over my dog's doing some gymnastics over here.
Excellent. Bring him on. Hi, welcome.
he's settling down. But yes, no, I had a little pizza, and I thought now I've got to balance it out for dinner because my brother's always making these. He's not whole food plant based. Let's just say. So I know, and I brought actually came with some honeydew melon, so I wouldn't be, he wouldn't hand me the cookies or that. And the melon was so perfectly sweet. It was, I have to be prepared about that.
Yeah,
So,
well, you could eat half a honeydew melon for the equivalent of two tiny cookies, right? And the honeydew melon, it's all water, so it's going to be very, very hydrating. It's full of electrolytes. It's full of vitamins. And minerals. You're just going to enjoy it so much. Your tummy's going to be full, and you're going to feel awesome because it tasted delicious. So it's all about learning what your options are. Instead of saying, oh, I can't have the cookies, it's not fair, which is what a lot of people do. I can't have the cookies, it's not fair. You say, oh, my goodness, I'm going to have a half a honeydew melon, and I'm going to sit here and I'm going to completely devour this delicious fruit, and I'm going to feel fantastic, and it's going to give me energy, and I'm just so in love with this fruit. And then your whole mind shift changes. So rather than thinking, I can't have the cookies, I get to have the watermelon or the honeydew melon or whatever it is. Yeah.
yes, well, it was very, very sweet, very lucky. And I see that we only have a few more minutes. I want to say thank you for JJ for coming. She's saying hello and she's listening in. And so let's.
I love your photo, JJ. That's a fantastic transformation. Congratulations.
Yeah, JJ, you should go on her show. I'll have to introduce y'all. And then we got another comment here from Ellen. We have time for one more. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your thought on eating raw veg? Does it have a place for some people?
Yeah, absolutely. Why would you not eat raw veg? I love raw veg. I mean, are you asking, should you only eat raw veg? No, you should not only eat raw veg, because you need to eat all the nutrients. You need to have whole grains, legumes, fruit, vegetables, herbs and spices, and maybe nuts and seeds. Some nuts and seeds for your omega-3s. But certainly, I think raw veg has an essential part in people's diets. Yeah, so absolutely eat raw veg as part of your diet, but it does not provide all the nutrients for a human being if that's all you're going to eat. You do need to have vegetables are very, very high in water and fiber, which means they're very, very low in calories, and they do not supply enough calories and enough nutrients for a complete diet over a long period of time. If you want to do a raw veg cleanse for 3 or 4 days and eat nothing but raw veg, go ahead, right? Because you're not going to become nutrient deficient in like 3 or 4 days, but you're not going to be getting enough protein in that 3 or 4 days, because you're going to need to add your legumes and your whole grains and things like that. Look, broccoli's got tons of protein, but you have to eat a lot of broccoli. So yeah, it has a place. Would I recommend only raw veg to a person? Absolutely not. No. And I know there are people out there that do that, and I don't know why they do that, but certainly I would recommend that you need to eat the other plant foods to get all the nutrients, all the protein, all the vitamins, all the minerals, all the things.
All right. Well, thank you. All right. And so I see that my dog is getting anxious. I don't know why, but you can chill out just for a few more minutes, please. So
bring your doggy on the camera. I want to see the doggy.
Come on, I think he's pretty cozy over there. But let's make sure that everyone knows where they can find you, and show us your book again, Terri.
Here is the book. Is it in camera? It's not getting. Hang on, I'll go there. Yep. There we go. Now it's fixated. It's called Fabulous Health: A Simple Plan to Get Well and Stay Well. And see, it's a #1 Amazon international bestseller in 4 countries: Australia, the UK, Canada, and America, in 10 different categories. So I'm very, very grateful for that. Thank you to everybody who has bought it and downloaded it as a Kindle book. And you can get it on Amazon, of course. If you live in America and you'd like a signed copy from me, just go to fabuloushealthbook.net and I will sign you a copy and send it to you. Unfortunately, I cannot send them overseas, so you'll have to get it from Amazon if you live overseas. And if you want to find out more about me, just go to my website, fabuloushealth.net.
Wonderful. And everyone, please make sure to go to www.all-creatures.org to make a one-time or recurring donation to help fund this program. And Ellen is saying, thank you both. Thank you, Ellen. She's so sweet. And then Sandra's here. Thank you, Sandra and JJ, for watching. And yes, I mean, this has been such an inspiring conversation. I love your energy, very happy, and your shirt is happy, and everything about you is really, it's really nice to see that. So we need a dose, like I said before, we needed this dose of happiness. So thank you so much, Terri. And I want everyone to make sure to go get that book, to check out Terri's website, because there's a lot on there, a lot of free resources and things to start taking action now. You want to take action right now. Don't wait, because
Yeah, that's right.
you just fall to the wayside.
Well, we all say we should have done it sooner, right? We all say that. So take advice from us. We should have done it sooner, so do it today. Absolutely. And thank you so much for having me, Mariquita. It's been a pleasure being here.
This has been wonderful. Thank you all for watching, and then we'll see you next week. Bye-bye, everyone.